Well, good morning guys, hope you're all doing well. So today we've come up to Glencoe, and as you can see behind me here, the light is absolutely stunning. We just kind of pulled over, literally just parked right behind you there, and just tried to capture this light. And sometimes it's like this, you just have to react to the conditions that you're given. Everywhere else around there's not a great deal of light, it's actually cloudy, and this is just this one point where the sun's trying to break through this gap in the mountains behind there. So definitely worth stopping, definitely worth capturing. Right guys, I didn't think I would get a chance to kind of show you on the back of the camera, but the light's still happening there, so I'll just press record on this now. So hopefully what you should see is I've got this in nice square format. I've taken different versions of this image, but for now I've got it in square format, and you can see I've got it where it's intersecting. Both of those mountains are coming down, and there's a lovely sort of cross pattern in the valley there. The clouds moving in through this bottom section, and then you've got the light coming through the valley just between there, and in between there's kind of rays coming down and everything. So I'm just using these three lines of the intersection here. I've got my focus point. If I just kind of select there, you can just see there's a ridge of the second ridge off in the distance there. I'm focused on that there. I'm 2 stops under because it's quite bright back there, and I don't want it to blow those highlights out and get rid of all that lovely detail. So I'm just going to grab that shot now. So I'm basically at 3/20th of a second, 125 ISO and f/16, and here's the shot. So I've just lined up the strip pano version, I'll show you on the back here. And this is the same shot more or less, only what I've done is put it into this lovely strip pano, which works really well for this sort of scene. And again, I've just put my focus point off. I'll just show you that, I'll just make sure that's level. Just off to that left hand side again, just where the light is happening in that second ridge beyond there. Now what I'm actually doing here, the same as before, I'm 2 stops under again, just to make sure, because that cloud's got beautiful detail up there, so I don't want to make that blow out and lose all that detail. So at the minute, I'm at 3/20th of a second, f/16 at ISO 100. And let me know which one you prefer, either the square crop or the strip pano version. Hi guys, just want to interrupt this video to talk about the in-camera cropping and why it's such a valuable tool. There's a lot of people say cropping's a bad thing, especially if you're doing it in post, and I disagree with that, to be honest. I think cropping is a really valuable tool, and it can be so powerful, but even more so inside the camera. If you've got the ability to go by a 1:1 crop, something like that, and actually mold that image through the viewfinder, I think that's absolutely invaluable. And as you can see out on field here, I've managed to craft both of these images, both the strip pano and the square crop, by looking through the viewfinder, and therefore after, when I get back in post, I don't have to do any cropping. Okay guys, back to the video. So this is the first shot I've got lined up here. I've got it in a vertical orientation because I want to get as much of this scene in as I can. Obviously the mountains are quite close here, so I need to get a wide angle on 23mm and get as much of this scene in as possible. We've got quite a lot of this water, but it's moving through really fast. So it's a matter of playing with the shutter speeds to get the right one that fits. And for me, I want as much detail in this water as I possibly can. So somewhere between 1/3 of a second and 1/4 of a second seems to be working really well. But it's just a matter of playing with both and seeing what works. So at the minute, I'm about 1/3 of a second, as I say, f16 and ISO 100, vertical orientation, and I'm focused on a rock down here. What I'll do is I'll set up the monitor on the back of the camera so you can actually see what I'm looking at through the viewfinder. Right, so I'll just press record on the back of here now. So what you should actually be seeing is that I've got this in a 4:3 format. I'm just slightly underexposing to get down to 1/3 of a second. I've got a polarizer on the front just to kind of cut through a little bit of the glare and make those lovely colours of the water down here pop. And you can also see if I select my focus point, I'm off on the bottom third of my image, right on where it intersects, where it crosses, and on this rock which is off to the left. So if I look at this now, what you can also see is this tree up to the right hand side of the frame. I don't want that cut off. I want that tree in the shot because to me that's part of it. So I've got branches down this right hand side which I'm trying to keep out of the frame, but I want that tree in, little silver birch in the frame as well. I've got this main peak here centered in the middle portion of the image with the other peak off to the left, and then you can just see the next one behind it there. And it's just been a case of experimenting with the water down here and waiting for a little bit more light to come through. Ideally, there's not a great deal of interest going on up there in clouds, and I'd like a bit more texture and detail because on the back of the camera it looks quite white. So hopefully you'll be able to see now. I'll select this focus point. I'm at 1/3 of a second, f16, ISO 100, and I'll grab this first shot. So as you can see, the weather's really closed in now. We've got rain coming and now it's kind of covering the tops of the mountains up there, so you can't actually see the scene in front of you. Now this all happened just as I was about to show you the scene, see what I was seeing through the viewfinder. But basically I just moved position from where I was before and concentrated on a little bit of a waterfall which goes into the water. A rock that's in the kind of centre of that waterfall, directing the water either side of it. I think it's quite an interesting shot. Another vertical shot again, because that's what seems to work quite well here. And here's that shot. So this is day 2 of the trip up to Glencoe, and got a couple of decent images yesterday. Woke up this morning to pouring rain, and it's the kind of rain that is just a whiteout. There's no detail left in the sky or anything like that, so it's been very much a day of just waiting around to see what the actual light does. It's starting to clear now, but we've been here a good 4 or 5 hours and there's bits of breaks opening up. We're just waiting for something to happen, a little bit of light. and if it doesn't happen here, we'll move on somewhere else and try and capture something else. We'll just have to see what happens. So guys, as you can see, still raining, still chucking it down. We've actually left Glencoe now because it just wasn't happening. This weather's just being held in by the mountains all around, and we just can't get anything at all. So I managed to grab a quick handheld shot just before we left, and this is the one I got. Apart from that though, we're just making our way back down now. It's been one of those days where it's just been sucked in the whole day, but just seen on the side of the road here some lovely sort of clouds moving through some trees. So we thought we'd pull over at the side of the road and kind of grab a little sort of detail shot really. But obviously, as soon as we stop to take a shot, down comes the rain again. Seems to be the story of today. But it's just a quick shot. I'm not going to be able to show you the back of the screen or anything. It's just too wet. But what I've got is basically, I've taken a strip pano shot, which I prefer more than the actual square crop I thought I was going to like. I've got a shutter speed of about 1/3 of a second. I'm at f/16, ISO 160 because it's just that little bit dark at the minute. Yeah, just grab the shot. So guys, I think we're gonna have to call it quits here today. The rain's really starting to come in hard, getting heavy now, so it's been a really fantastic couple of days up in Glencoe. Nice to get away. I think I got a couple of shots on this trip I really like. Hope you've enjoyed the video. See you again on the next video. Subscribe and like. See you again soon. Bye bye.